Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining our ISKCON Ministry of Education Pan-American the virtual symposium. And I am Balimardhan Das. I am very delighted to welcome you all for this virtual one. And also we are live in ISKCON Ministry of Education YouTube, ISKCON Ministry of Education Facebook, and also My Krishna, then a couple of other websites. So please, in case if you want, I will put the link in the chat. So before we start the journey, we will hear a quote from Srila Prabhupada, and I will invoke an auspiciousness for all of us to begin the journey. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desa Tarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So I will just run one quick audio from Srila Prabhupada, 2 minutes quotes. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen again. Give me.
Speculate constructing a castle in the air. That is not very good thing.
A room conversation with Carol Cameron.
You should present something which will benefit the people and practical. That is science.
Do you think it's possible to within, say, an education framework, or should it be something quite separate?
When education, if it is not for the benefit of the people, then what is the use of such education? That is not education. Education means something which will benefit the mass of people. That is education. To enlighten them, to do something better. That is education. And this whole Darwin's theory is false. But people are giving too much stress. First of all, anyone, even Darwin, he is not independent. And just like Darwin has died, and so he is under the control of something higher. Nobody wants to die.
Thank you very much for hearing a few minutes glimpse of Srila Prabhupada about education. He's saying education, it doesn't give benefit to anyone. So what's the meaning of education? So having heard from Srila Prabhupada, we would just like to share the agenda for today, and then we will start. So let me again quickly share my screen. Okay. We have only one day presentations. Earlier, we used to have a couple of days of presentations, but because of the pandemic, we used to do online very nicely. However, it is not possible to do too long of virtual. And in order to at least continue this year, we are planning to have an on-site presentation in St. Louis with Ramacharya Prabhu and the team, but somehow we did not click it. So we are trying the next year, we'll do either some places, in-person symposium, Krishna Wills. So nevertheless, so this 2 hours, what we are planning, if you could see here, Srila Prabhupada quotes we heard, and the next presentations until 20 minutes, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vedant, Death, Srimad Bhagavatam, the final examination from His Holiness Hanumat Prashak Maharaj, and then Conscious Living, a brand of education from Dr. Krishna Abhishek Ghosh. He will be joining soon. And then the following, we'll have a breakout session for around 20-25 minutes to discuss about what is the new educational innovative initiatives ISKCON Ministry of Education should pursue or should really focus on. We'll get some ideas and some recommendations from the teams. We'll have it too, and planning to do Parampadam Prabhu. We'll do if someone is not speaking full English, so we'll do another Spanish, Namruchi Prabhu, and one more we'll do. And then His Grace Ramacharya Prabhu is doing the institutionalization of Shastric studies in Pan America. And then Mother Gopi Gita, she will also present on raising children to be highly productive, spiritually motivated leaders. And then Parampadam Prabhu will give 3 tips to teach Shastra in 21st century. And then we'll have some Ministry of Education updates and roadmap. Tapan Mishra Prabhu just texted me to say some GVC meetings and going on. So probably Satyameda Gauranga Prabhu will give some updates from the ministry. And then at the end, we'll do a conclusion survey and some polls to take some feedback from all of you. So pretty much 2 hours, 15 minutes. I hope we should be able to finish this symposium today. So now I will make His Holiness Hanumat Prashak Maharaj. We all know Maharaj. So just to give you introduction, in case if you don't know Maharaj, the disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, a monk, a sannyasi, and also he is General Secretary of NIOSH, North American Institutes for Oriental and Classical Studies. Maharaj grew up in California, graduated in psychology from the University of California in 70, minor biology, and then electrical engineering. And there are various things I can go on. So he's a Bengali sannyasi, and Maharaj also I did some Manipur cultural institutes, then also part of the director for Bhaktivedanta Institutes, Ranganiketan, Manipur, and there are many more. So we're very happy. Maharaj is also part of the Minister of Education core director, right now acting as an advisor, helping us all around, all time. So I'm very grateful to invite His Holiness Sanat Prasad Maharaj. So please give a big Haribol to Maharaj. And so let me make you the presenter, Maharaj.
Haribol.
Haribol, thank you. Okay, thank you. Could you speak few words, Maharaj? We can see your video screen, but not the audio.
Okay, can you hear me now, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello,
Maharaj.
hello, testing.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay.
So please.
Hey,
Yes.
it's already 6:09. I've already lost 4 minutes. Okay, but I'll try and finish on time. So can you see our screen okay?
Yes, Maharaj, I can see your screen.
Okay. So here we have Ministry of Education, Pan American Symposium, 2023, July 28th. Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti by Baba, Srimad Bhagavatam, and the final examination. Okay. And considering these things about the broader perspective of what we're trying to accomplish, what are our goals here? And of course, okay. So we are Hanumat Preshak, which means he who sent Hanuman with a message. So Ramadas. And we have our own Anjana Sudha Academy, which is our esoteric institute. Okay. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Okay. So we're starting off here with a look at Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, chapter 5. And this is what came to our mind here. And text 22, Hiranyakashipu said, "My dear Prahlad, my dear son, O long-lived one, for so much time you have heard many things from your teachers. Now please repeat to me whatever you think is the best of that knowledge." Okay. And we know that Prahlad answered with, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam, like that. So very famous incident related in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And we right away was noticing that, of course, we can discuss these things for a lifetime, but even a demon, is considering that education is an essential aspect of life. Of course, spiders, they don't get much education. Snakes don't get much education, I don't think. Pretty much, they're simply educated by their environment, and it stimulates them. Instinct, Prabhupada said, super soul. So somehow or other, the subtle information is already there, and the environment stimulates it, and it comes out. So it brings us to this question of, what is education? How does it work? What is it? Injecting something, or is it simply stimulating what's already there, or a combination? And the other aspect is that, yes, if a human being or something at some point, we're moving around, and maybe as small children, we see fire for the first time on the stove in the kitchen, or a candle, and it's very attractive, and we touch it. Whoa! Right away, we have an educational experience with no teacher. So we're being taught by the environment, but pretty much at some point, even animals, the little bears, they spend maybe 1 year with their mother after they're going around, and they learn how to hunt and how to do these things. Stimulates their natural abilities, natural ability to learn words, natural ability to develop concepts. But we have education, we have teachers. So this is like a fundamental thing. And even from Hiranyakashipu, we're understanding the system is there, And then, he's expecting that from his environment, he's going to get something back, which is going to satisfy his ideas about what is education. You know? But instead he hears this, this Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, that we should worship the Supreme Lord Vishnu. So of course this makes him completely irritated and agitated, and he begins to harass the teachers, Sanda and Mark, for having taught him these things. So there's a whole structure of education which is quite normal, and the teachers are responsible. And there's a little picture somebody drew of Hiranyakasipu harassing the teachers, and then they responded. Okay, can I move this? Okay. The son of Sukracharya, Hiranyakasipu's spiritual master, said, "O enemy of King Indra, O king, whatever your son Prahlad has said was not taught to him by me or anyone else. His spontaneous devotional service has naturally developed in him. Therefore, please give up your anger and do not unnecessarily accuse us. It is not good to insult a Brahmana in this way." Yeah. So here's an idea then that there's spontaneous development of different attitudes on a very, very broad basis like that. They're not like so much surprised by this. Text 29, Sri Narada Muni continued, when Hiranyakasipu received this reply from the teacher, he again addressed his son Prahlad. Hiranyakasipu said, "You rascal, most fallen of our family, if you have not received this education from your teachers, where have you gotten it?" Okay. So he's blaming the teachers, but they're saying it's developing spontaneously, but he's apparently not accepting that, and accepting that there are teachers who've been teaching it, he's learning it, and he's accepting it. And that's where he becomes morally implicated. Okay. And then Prahlad continues, Prahlad answers, only about three verses. And they're very, very essential, very fundamental. We could talk about them in more detail, but we only have 10 minutes left. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.531. And this is the one we were immediately thinking about. Now, we can all chant together. Na te vidusvarta gatim hi vishnum durashraya ye bahir artamanina andaya tandaya rupaniya manas te pisha tantram urudam nibhada. Here's very, very interesting artist conception of Prahlad Maharaj, which shows that with his great interest in producing very detailed, very artistic pictures. It's a whole separate topic, but we've heard some classes and they get erudite presentations on illustration, the history of illustrations of the Bhagavatam, some symposia, and it's very indicating that the book has always been very respected and revered. But this is what he says. Persons who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of, how are they entrapped? By the consciousness of enjoying material life, and who have therefore accepted as their leader or guru. Again, we have to have a teacher, a similar blind man attached to external sense objects, he tells his father, cannot understand that the goal of life is to return home, back to Godhead, and engage in the service of Lord Vishnu. As blind men guided by another blind man miss the right path and fall into a ditch, materially attached men led by another materially attached man are bound by ropes of fruitive labor, which are made of very strong cords, and they continue again and again in materialistic life, suffering the threefold miseries. A tiny little child pouring out with this sophisticated, complicated logic, analysis of the world we're in, and it's totally contrary to Hiranyakasipu's point here. But he's describing, this is our situation. This is how education is not going to work. Why? Because people haven't understand what is the goal of education. we're not talking necessarily about the method or different things like that, but what is the goal of education? Nate vidu swarta gatim hi vishnum. They cannot understand that the goal of life is to return home, back to Godhead, and engage in the service of Lord Vishnu. So this is our question then, you know? And Prahlad's pointing this out in this whole educational sequence. Of course, we can study this for a long time, but our time is short. So let's look at another story here. And this is when Kardama Muni is about to leave the home, and Devahuti comments, "My dear Lord, you have fulfilled all the promises you gave me. Yet because I am your surrendered soul, you should give me fearlessness too. Not knowing your transcendental situation, I have loved you while remaining attached to the objects of the senses. Nonetheless, the affinity I have developed for you, nonetheless, let the affinity I have developed for you rid me of all fear. My Lord, surely I have been solidly cheated by the insurmountable illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For in spite of having obtained your association, which gives liberation from material bondage, I did not seek such liberation." Okay, so this is her point about education. Yeah, she realizes that she needs for education to get free from death. Hiranyakasipu doesn't realize that exactly, or is trying to hide himself from the fact to choose other methods of becoming free from death. And so if we're adopting this as our goal in studying literature, the Ministry of Education, then we're looking at this in terms of how we're studying the Bhagavatam, what we're studying, how we're accomplishing the goal. Okay, and here's something. Let's just take and remove, what's his name? I can't read this. It's covered over by the bar there. Okay, or Srimad Bhagavatam, you have fulfilled all the promises you gave me, yet because I am your surrendered soul, you should give me fearlessness too. You know? Not knowing your transcendental situation, Srimad Bhagavatam, I have loved you while remaining attached to the objects of the senses. So are we reciting, studying, investigating the Vedic literatures, Prabhupada's books, while maintaining material attachments, trying to get free from sinful reactions by doing this, by coming to classes and these kind of things, you know, and remaining attached to the objects of sense gratification? Nonetheless, let the affinity I have developed for you rid me of all fear. So have we maybe developed this? You know, we're talking about a certain kind of advancement now in our study of the Bhagavatam, where we like classes, we have different attachments, you know, to the Bhagavatam and different purposes, but we haven't given up our attachment to sense gratification. Srimad Bhagavatam, surely I have been solidly cheated by the insurmountable illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for in spite of having obtained your association, which gives liberation from material bondage, I did not seek such liberation. Okay. So the final story here is looking at Maitreya Muni, when he encounters Krishna talking to Uddhava. Now he's a Jnana Mishra Bhakta. How many people here amongst us, myself included, definitely, are Jnana Mishra Bhaktas? You know? We have devotion, but we're very attached to the logical understanding of things. We like the Bhagavatam that way, you know, and we're concerned about how that gives us prestige or different things like that. Or so we can study the Bhagavatam as Karma Mishra Bhaktas. People, they do Bhagavad Gita recitation. Simply they do the activity for the purpose of some kind of, you know, some kind of result within this world, basically. And so to some degree, maybe we do that again. We're afraid of going to hell. We're afraid of so many things. It sounds good. It feels good when I go here to recite the Bhagavatam. But I don't come to the next level, which is Jnana Mishra. So now we're trying to do this, trying to develop our logic, trying to develop our Euclidean mapping of the Bhagavatam, you know. And if we do that, of course, we become Jnana Vimukti, you know. But still, it's on this level of trying to control, understand. Then finally, Jnana Mishra, and this is where the Bhagavatam actually is purifying us to the point where we start developing these mystical abilities. We can control people's minds. We can fly in the sky. We can appreciate subtle forces in the world around us. You know? And this is a natural result of associating with Krishna. You know? But of course, we have to surpass all these. The purpose is to get free from the material world and reawaken our relationship with Krishna. When Prabhupada was in Berkeley, San Francisco, 1970, what was it, 75? You know, he of course was inspiring us all in the worship of Radha Gokulananda, so beautiful there, and also this by the Ratha Yatra, you know, festival. And so much association. And one thing has stuck with us very strongly, you know, and that was he said, and I heard this from Prabhupada's lips, and now you can hear it from my lips. Anyone who chants Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda and follows it with Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, has achieved the perfection of life. But if you want to preach, you should probably read my books. So here it is. What is our goal? To develop and become jnanis, to get titles, you know, or different things like that, the results of intellectual satisfaction? Or is it to achieve the perfection of life? And so this is the point that another point we're trying to make here is that the perfection of life, you know, Svartagatim Vishnu, is especially based upon japa, kirtan, you know, sankirtan, you know, and this is the age of Kali. Of course, we see Lord Chaitanya himself was a great, you know, preacher of the Bhagavat philosophy to these great sannyasis. But what was he preaching? He was preaching about the ultimate end of chanting the holy names. You know? So it has to be a tremendous part of our education, the ministry of education. You know, we'll finish off. We have very little like personal direct association with Prabhupada. I mean, physical, but a lot with Hansaduta, Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami, and Jayananda. You know, and we can't go into details. Actually, it's already 6:25. Yeah. But one thing with Hansaduta, of course, he was very, very powerfully engaged in kirtan and very famous for that process and converting people in long hours of that. You know, but also he said one time he was traveling with Prabhupada. He was driving, I think, and Prabhupada asked him. He said, "Why do you think I have written so many books?" And he said, "Well, you know, he told us. He said, well, because it's a good philosophy, these kind of things." And he said, Prabhupada said, "No, I've written all these books to convince you to chant Hare Krishna. If you're convinced to chant Hare Krishna, you don't have to read these books." And that's when he realized he wasn't convinced. I'm not convinced. I'm becoming more convinced, you know. Yeah. And of course, Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, again, so powerfully engaged in kirtan, bhajan, that aspect. Even Prabhupada told him, always have the cultural program with the science program, you know. And Jayananda, he told us that Prabhupada said, if you just go on chanting Hare Krishna, you'll see pastimes you never read in any of our books. So it's a very subtle relationship between the book Bhagavatam and the holy names and the kirtan, the Yuga Dharma. But I think it's something we tend to lose sight of that the real Vidyavadu Jivanam, the essence of all our education is, you know, chanting the holy names. And then we'll understand and appreciate the books in the proper perspective. So, yam yam vapi smaram bhavan tyajatyanti kalevaram tam tameva tekontaya sadata bhava bhavitaha. This is the question. All your studies will be judged finally by how much your bhava is developed. Your Srimad Bhagavatam developing a bhava, you know, of transcendental relationship with Krishna. And you can check how much you're developing. Ado Shraddha Sadhu Sangha. We know this verse. And it describes very well the steps on the ladder. And we should always be looking at each other and talking with each other and inspiring each other. What level have we come to? How many people in the audience have come to Ruchi? How many people in the audience have come to Nishta? How many people are beginning to come to Asaktis? Big topics. So anyway, we're 2 minutes over. So I want to thank you all glory to Srila Prabhupada. And you can contact us in our Anjana Sudha Academy through www.jayarama.us, United States. Okay. 22 minutes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you. So still we can take one question. So if in the audience anyone like to ask, please unmute yourself.
Maharaj, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you for this very.
Hare Krishna.
This is Krishna Abhishek. Can you hear me?
Okay,
Yes,
very well,
Prabhuji,
very
yeah.
well. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that very enthused presentation. You mentioned one point that Srila Prabhupada was looking to balance the scientific presentation with a cultural presentation. And I have come across that, back in the day, there was something called the Bhaktivedanta Institute for Religion and Culture, which was operating out of Cambridge, Massachusetts. And I also noticed that Tamal Krishna Goswami published his drama of Lord Jagannath from that platform, and it was actually quite encouraging. So could you, yeah, I'm actually sitting with his book right here. I was reading it and I noticed it's from the, are you able to see it?
Yes.
I've seen it. It's very nice. I've actually heard the presentation they did. Yeah. So what I know was with Bhakti Swarup Damodar, of course, so much I slept on the same bed as he did. We traveled together. He's my sannyas guru. So from him, I have so much contact with Prabhupada and how Prabhupada was establishing it. But what I know was that Prabhupada told him, whenever you have the academic presentation, and there's of course ways to do that also, there should simultaneously be a cultural presentation. And so we would have like our First and Second World Congress for the synthesis of science and religion, the study of consciousness within science, the Nobel laureates in physics and everything. But right along with that, we would have our, usually in the evening, of course, have our Ranganiketan, Manipuri cultural programs, which were, first class. We performed in Disney World and every place else. And you could see these people, many of them, they were quite cultured people. It was quite common. On that top level, they were also people with their own appreciation of culture. And so we saw the message coming from both directions. It really had a penetrating effect. So that's a very brief explanation, of having. There's a lot more too, but it's basically that. Whenever you had the academic program, Prabhupada told him also have a cultural program, music, dance, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Thank you. That was a very interesting point. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Anyway, we could talk more, but right now, Bali Mardon, he'll just cut our heads off. I know Bali Mardon.
Thank you
He's
very
German.
much, Maharaj. I do appreciate it. I work in German company, so becoming half German. Thank you for your wonderful association. And as we move forward, and Krishna Abhishek Prabhuji also asked questions. So our next presentation, Conscious Living. And if you don't know, let me give you a little bit introduction. Dr. Krishna Abhishek Ghosh Prabhu, he's the director of the Institute for Vaishnava Studies, and his research specialization is in the history of religion, South Asian studies, and Gaudiya Vaishnavism. He holds theology and PhD in theology and religious studies from Oxford University, UK, and a PhD in South Asian languages and civilizations from the University of Chicago on Vaishnavism and West. In the past, he has taught at the University of Chicago's Graham School of General Studies, where he won the Dean's Award for Excellence in Teaching, and was a professor of Hinduism and world religions at Grand Valley State University, Michigan, before joining as director of IVS. His latest book project titled Walls of Devotion is under contract with State University of New York Press, prestigious Hindu studies series. So we'd like to welcome Prabhu. So the floor is yours. So please go ahead. So we have until 20 minutes for you to go ahead presentation, and we'll take some questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhadravardhan Prabhu, for inviting me to this program. And our time together stems out of a meeting we had a couple of months back at the ISKCON of Silicon Valley, where I was invited to do a program, and they invited me back to do another program, and I'm sharing the link here. this program is happening around middle August, so about half a month from now. And I was requested to speak on the topic of conscious living, right? As a kind of new mode of presenting our educational content. And when I was invited to speak there, and I was sitting with so many wonderful devotees, there is Advaita Ashish Prabhu, Sundarananda Prabhu, there is Vrindavan Priya Prabhu, then Sachin Mittal, and then Balimardan Prabhu, and Srivas Pandit Prabhu. It struck me that in the United States of America, Buddhism has spread widely because they extracted what was the lowest common denominator that had the widest mass appeal. And that was mindfulness. If you go to hospitals today, you go to schools today, mindfulness is everywhere. And there are apps like Calm, and there are so many out there. There are programs, and there are academic researchers looking at this stuff seriously. And just to do a little experiment, we searched up mindfulness, and we got about 850,000 hits on Google Scholar. That means, Buddhism in its form as mindfulness has been studied by at least 850,000 researchers one way or another, right? And that tells us why it is so successful. I've also had a chance to visit the Maharishi University of Management at Fairfield, Iowa, with a dear friend and colleague, Gauranga Das from Chopati, a few years back. And I saw what they were doing. In the early 60s, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi came, and he was teaching Advaita Vedanta, and he was teaching their form of meditation, but he called it transcendental meditation, which we are familiar with, right? And one of his disciples, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, who I met during an interfaith conference in Kazakhstan, explained what he was doing. And I was also struck by seeing how he had translated the philosophy of Advaita Vedanta into the Art of Living Foundation program. Okay. And another disciple of Maharishi called Deepak Chopra, who is in California, has the Chopra Center. And the question I asked the devotees I met is like, do you have something in mind like this, right? Have you thought about it? And they said, yes, this is what we are trying to develop with this program called Conscious Living at Stanford. And I have a little picture to share with you here. Let me see how Am I allowed to share the screen, Balimardan Prabhu?
Yes, Roji, let me. Yeah, you are the co-host. You should be able to share. Yeah.
Okay. 1 second. Is everybody able to see this?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you. So that's, here's Giriraj Swami blessing our efforts. And if you look at, what's going on at Stanford, you will see that it is a program that presents the core ideas of Krishna consciousness, but taking into account the sensibilities of people. Because for a lot of people, what we present might be very overwhelming in the beginning. And it's sometimes a major turnoff for young college students who are exploring various spiritual avenues. But the moment you present them with something that is totally foreign and misunderstood, they immediately start to form judgment and kind of shut down. And therefore, I saw that these different groups have come up with concepts that have universal appeal and that helps people understand the theology or the philosophy of these traditions on their own terms. The last example I had in mind for today's conversation, and I'd love to open up the floor and hear more perspectives on this, is Stephen Covey. How many of us have heard of the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? Right? It's a classic. A lot of people in management and just general self-help category have read that book. Now, Stephen Covey was a Mormon, and Mormonism is practically one of the smallest denominations of Christianity in the United States of America. When in one of the past elections, Mitt Romney ran for office for the president, one of the main criticisms against him was, hey, he's a Mormon. He has ideas that belong to the minority, and he'll never be able to be a leader for everyone. Right? And as as unfounded as those claims can be, the fact remains that the general mass of people are very resistant to accepting something that might be good for them, but that they're unfamiliar with. So if that is, the case, then it actually falls on our shoulders to think how the rest of these thinkers or thought leaders are presenting their ideas in a way that makes sense to the general mass of people, right? So whether we know it or not, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People are actually a very distilled, universal presentation of a lot of the core Mormon teachings. But we are able to recognize something universal in there that's relevant for us, even though we may not be Mormon. And my request to the leaders and thinkers of the Krishna consciousness movement is to reflect on this, this phenomena. There is so much in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is so much in our Shastras that have mass universal appeal that can actually benefit a lot of people by helping them take better decisions, organize their lives in more productive ways, build better relations, and contribute to bigger issues like the environmental crisis and so on and so forth, right? So I kind of invite whoever is interested to think through this and offer suggestions on how our friends at ISV and Stanford Conscious Living might be able to provide that platform that expands the ambit of how we present the philosophy of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So thank you so much for giving me the time, and I deeply appreciate all the work that all of us are doing together. It's a wonderful Sangha. In ISKCON Education Ministry is, in my understanding, one of the most important segments of the movement, because Tamakrishna Maharaj had expressed very clearly to myself and many others that if we do not invest in education, sooner or later, this movement will implode, right? So for the sake of our survival and for the sake of having good dialogue partners, both within and outside of the movement, the ministry is doing excellent work, and I thank you for giving me this time.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. So I think we can take some definitely questions, comments, or any kind of suggestions regarding the presentation you made. So I will open up the floor right now and ask the devotees, assembled devotees, please share any insight you have for Krishna Abhishek Prabhuji as he is doing the especially program for the Stanford. That's the beginning. When you start with the big one, it will really explode to the other colleges and universities. So please share some of your thoughts, what he just spoke about, different programs from Buddhism, the mindfulness and other things, and what is gone from a Gaudiya Vaishnava. We are planning to expand this conscious living so that.
Thank you, Bali Mardhan.
Thank you. Yeah. So you can unmute yourself or you can put in the chat. Either way is fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you don't have any questions or comments, you can always leave us line giving your blessings.
That's also nice.
I didn't want to talk about actually just very, very quickly. Two things. remind me. One, of course, is the danger of falling into the same trap that Vyasadeva fell into. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, that we explain it so indirectly that nobody ever quite figures out what's going on. But we all know that. But we all have to remind ourselves and see how much we're able to get it across. And the second one is that, of course, we're fanatics about the Upadeshamrita. We published a little, Waves of the Devotion type commentary. And I was noticing that book, that book doesn't talk about anything specific until I think maybe text number like 6 or 7. So in the beginning, it's all very, very general in terms of activities. So it in itself is also makes the same presentation. You can take it as a resource. So the two things that came to our mind. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for both those comments. In fact, responding to the first comment, I had the same question/concern. And I asked Radhanath Maharaj about what he thought. And he said, of course, we must get to the point as quickly and as straight as possible. But Vyasadeva gave dharma, artha, kama, and moksha to the world and put bhakti right in the middle. And he said, that's a great model to follow. People do need the purusharthas, right? People need an income. People want to get married and settle down. People need to retire. So those 4 cannot be ignored, but without bhakti, it's all diffused and confusing. But if we look at what Vyasadeva did, provide people dharma, artha, kama, moksha when they needed, but put bhakti right in the middle, things will be all right. But thank you so much for, for that insight. Really appreciate. Did someone else want to add something to that conversation?
Yeah, please unmute yourself. Don't be shy and open up.
Dandavats to all the senior Vaishnavas. I'm basically from India. I'm visiting US for a few months, and I'm here at Ithaca, New York. The first question, not question, my first comment is like when I wanted to get an association in such a place like a small town, I practically couldn't find anyone. There is one devotee, but I'm still yet to get the contacts. As the Vaishnavas have pointed out, it is spreading the movement faster with basic attractive seminar, lecture, presentation in educational institutions all around, with a couple of or 3 or 4 topics which are constant, preferably one topic which is a constant topic, and people will hang on to that eventually. The universities and colleges usually work in that way. So becoming popular is actually not a choice. It is a necessity for us to promote Hare Krishna movement. And I would really want to listen to the presentation. Maybe if it's available online when it happens, I'll be happy to take part and learn. Hare Krishna, Dandavats again.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Maybe we can take one more last comments or.
Sure, and as I said, if nobody has any comments, you can always give your blessings. I take your silence as blessings.
We definitely pray to Lord Jagannath in the month of Purushottam that you are adventuring a great task, so that may Krishna, may Lord Jagannath bless you to be successful. Thank you. On behalf of all our educators and ISKCON Minister of Education, we really pray that Krishna Vishek Prabhuji, whatever he is endeavoring towards the conscious living and the team, so we have all support and prayers for Lord Jagannath to give you the right due intelligence to expand it. Thank you very much. Om Tat Sat.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
So thank you very much, Roji. Let me now share my screen. Give me 1 second. Can you see my screen, by the way, again?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So we have the next 20 minutes. We will, as we know, this is more of an interactive our dialogue sessions with North American, especially Pan-American devotees and educators to understand and know about each other. So we'll try our best to have these breakout sessions 20 minutes. So here you can see we have Parampadam Prabhu. I don't know how many Spanish speaking people on the call. Can you raise a hand? Something I need to know. Otherwise, you do not make a group for Spanish people. You only can make two English. So the breakout session one would be led by Nam Ruchi Prabhu. So we will do, and then another Parampadam Prabhu. You are good to go for the English also, right? Yes, thank you. So here some of the slides I mentioned about the breakout session details. So what we topic is the new educational innovative initiatives approach in ISKCON Ministry of Education. So that means to provide better service to the educators community. And what we are doing right now, the kids program, Sunday school, Bhakti Sastri, Bhakti Vyava, there are, and Varnashrama college, etc., which is already available. So what from your perspective you think you can give a suggestions to ISKCON Minister of Education so that we implement or we at least examine the necessity of such ideas. So we have duration probably 20 minutes, we'll go for it, and breakout session at the end. The two groups will present 3 minutes, depends on the timing, at least 2 minutes, each of them, some few ideas, at least highlight some bullet points or something, 3 points, what exactly the ministry should pursue. So in other words, Nam Ruchi Prabhu has mentioned here what innovative some examples initiative approach to effectivity Shastras also, or completely different is Shastras in schools or colleges, or to reach more devotees means to reach more people through education. So that's why we wanted to discuss about. So I would suggest now to create the, give me 1 second to breakout room. I'll create 2 breakout room and let's participate, choose the room. You can choose your room. So one will be Namruchi Prabhu or assign manually. Now let's try to do, or you can move from one breakout room to the another one. So let me create. So room 1 will be, I am renaming as Namruchi Prabhu and lead, and room 2 would be Parampadam Prabhu. Okay. So I open all rooms. So Hare Krishna Ramacharya.
Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Saprajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sadhana Lalita Sri Vishakhanitanstam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaurabhaktavrinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaurabhaktavrinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaurabhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama,
I hope everyone is back. And it's so perfect timing. Prabhupada's Hare Krishna also finished the right time. So I would like to maybe invite group one, Namruchi Prabhu, and maybe do you want to present? So 2 minutes, please take and share your results.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So we discussed about like multiple topics, but obviously we did not have so much time. We were in between some conversation and we were forced to come back. So one of the primary aspect which devotees touched upon is incorporation of different active learning projects, similar to how it is done in the GBC college. And Mother Gopi Gita mentioned about how our Bhakti Sastri program is already using some of this, and she has like some data, so to prove the effectiveness of this. So that is the primary aspect we touched upon, and also the need for having more engagement to check the progress of the devotees as we are covering different topics through quizzes or some of those kind of things, so we can learn about their progress, and in case if they are stuck, we will be able to assist them. So these two are the two main topics which we discussed. We also discussed about other areas, primarily in terms of different services devotees are doing in their respective places. That's it, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Namruchi Prabhuji.
Thank you.
So thanks for sharing this. Definitely, I will pass it on to our ministry's the operating team. So now I'll request Parampadam Prabhu, would you like to share the results and outcome from your group?
Yes, thank you very much, Olimardana Prabhu. We have 3 proposals for innovate educational proposal. From Brazil, Flavin told us about one project in Brazil that is integrate community and school. Then the people who study in the school have to integrate in the community and to do activities in the community. She said that it's a good proposal for Christian consciences to make some school where you have to go to school, but you have to make some activities in the community. It's a new way to install a school in Brazil. And this is one proposal, and the other is Krishna Chandra Prabhu told us about one mobile institution, like this mobile institution, that they can go to every school to share workshop about values for every school. Then he said about create teams of devotees who develop many workshops to share in different schools about values, different values. It's okay? My English? It's okay?
Yes.
And Hanuma Prasad Swami told us about other proposals, but just he finished his proposal, the connection finished. Then we can hear only that he want to the GBC president each year has to give some conference about, but the internet, I don't know.
Please collect
But
the ideas.
Yes, we connect. But I don't know, maybe this conference, I think, is about educational principle or the importance of the education in ISKCON, I don't know. We have to ask him about this.
Got it. Thank you very much, Project. Thanks for the wonderful. I've kept a note of all of them, so we will definitely pass it on to our minister, Tapan Mr. Prabhu, and also the team. So, but thank you for sharing. So now, as continuations of our program, we have 3 more presenter. So 15 minutes each. So I hope you will duly weigh in the time. Next one, Ramacharya Prabhu. He's from St. Louis. He's a great educator, runs both Bhakti Sastri, Bhakti Vaibhav. He's also in the St. Louis Temple Council member and recently finished his GBC General Supervisor course, and very always ecstatic. And he will present on the institutionalization of Shastric studies, excuse me, in Pan America. So Prabhu, I made you a presenter. So please, if you have the slide, please go ahead. Thank you.
Can you confirm if you are seeing the screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Dandavad pranams to everybody. Hare Krishna. My name is Ramacharya Das. I'm very happy to present with you the Vedic education system, or a format of education system for Vedic studies. This is a very broader topic, and I have been looking into it. And I don't know how much of that I can present in 15 minutes, but I would like to just go through it quickly to give you some essence of it. It's a very, very important topic in my opinion. So just to introduce myself, I'm Ramacharya Das, and I'm from ISKCON St. Louis. St. Louis is a beautiful place. So I request all of you, if you are driving through or if you'd like to visit, please come and spend some time with us. So our temple right now is very much situated within 2 universities, 2 big universities, St. Louis University and then Washington University. Washington University is top 10 for medical program. So we have so many students who are going to school. They come to our Sunday program. Or this Sunday we are going to have Rath Yatra. So many of the students will be coming. So our center right now is approved to teach Bhakti Shastri course. And so far I had multiple batches that I taught. Many of them successfully received the certificate.
Cuidado, pronto.
And I'm also teaching Bhakti Vaibhav. So we have batches going on with Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Vaibhav. And as I'm dedicating my time and trying to learn more about education, one thing that I'm finding, it's very, very important to have educational setup. So I'll talk about it. What are the benefits of having educational system? But all the endeavor that we are making here to promote education, we are doing under Institute for Ultimate Good. That's the name I'm calling for my institute. And this is basically based on the first question. So sages are asking 6 questions to Sutta Goswami. And the first one was, what is for the ultimate good of mankind? So our institute is an Institute for Ultimate Good. And I'm working with Palimardan Prabhu to set it up in a very official way, call it a non-profit organization for Vedic studies. And then I have some dreams, some future planning that I'm working on. And for sure, on this journey, I would like your blessings, your guidance, your support. I'm sure all of you are trying to promote it, the Vedic education, and trying to help, the residents of North America or South America to be more aware and conscious about science of Krishna consciousness. So Institute for Ultimate Good is my dream, and I'm still working on it. In Mahabharata, it is mentioned that when Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking questions with Vishnudev, he's asking, what are the three things or things that we have to conserve for the all-round development of mankind? What should be conserved? And he said that these three things are very, very important for mankind to preserve. Number one, he said that sacred cow, mother cow, should be preserved. That type of a statement, when you talk in North America, you can see how does it sound. Every corner and every street, every town has some sort of slaughterhouse. Then he said, Mother Bhumi need to be preserved or conserved. And then he said, the sacred knowledge, knowledge is considered the third eyes. So third eye of the mankind has to be preserved, because society will flourish if they have right set of knowledge given to them. In Jaiva Dharma, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is very nicely talking about these two terms. It's called, is saying that the entire population falls into these two categories, Udit Viveka and Anudit Viveka. So Udit Viveka are the personality, people who are very God conscious, Krishna conscious, and they follow their Nitya Dharma. On the other hand, Anudit Vivekas are people who are very slumbering material consciousness. They have no aspiration for self-realization. And he says that most of the people in the Kali Yuga is falling under this Anudita Viveka. And very rarely we find people who are in Udita Viveka. So as an educator now, all of us can see how big of a responsibility we have to play. And then he says that for mankind to go from Anudita Viveka to Udit Viveka, they have to do these items. So these are the 5 principal limbs of bhakti. And you can see he emphasized that a study of Bhakti Shastra, Shastric education is very, very important. For sure, faith in holy name, association with devotee, serving the, exalted Vaishnava and deity worship, those are there. But Shastric study is very, very important. And how in a North America or in a society where everything is based on economic development, how we can have some sort of format, some sort of system where we can have Vedic studies. If you really try to understand the Vedic age versus our modern age, there has been tremendous change. We have lost almost everything. Society has lost all advanced knowledge, all the Vedic knowledge. Some because of the advancement of the time, and some because it was forced. It was forced on mankind to forget the value, the traditional system of belief. And there are tons and tons of example can be cited that how the modern system has tortured and abused the Vedic setup. such as at the medieval age, when India was under the rule of a Mughal or British, they deliberately demolished Nalanda, Takshila, all the places of higher learning. They would send people, they will kill the teacher. When British government came, they had Education Act. And in that act, they said that anything that is being taught in English and coming from Europe is bona fide, otherwise it's illegal. And then they passed the Education Act, TV, Maclaw, you would have heard about them, and very much vanquished, wiped out all the, Vedic setup that was existing and prevailing in India. And after that, there was industrial revolution, and then so many other social changes. And now you can see
Mas vai e volta
that
rápido.
in the modern age, the education has very much shrunk down to, in very concise way, we call it a STEM,
So we have 5 more minutes just.
which is science, technology, engineering, and math, and very less to humanity. So what has happened is that the wisdom of knowledge, there is a nice book, Inconvenient Truth, has been cut down, and people are nourishing the tree of money. They are nourishing the science and education, which are going to give them money, and that wisdom which has been coming from years after years has been lost. And what it's doing for the mankind is that it's taking people from a smaller cage to bigger cage. On the other hand, purpose of education shall set living being free. But that's not it's doing. It's making people slave. The purpose of Vedic education was more around who we are and who Supreme Lord is, and then acting under that consciousness. It was a circular loop going from soul to super soul. And then as we try to know super soul, we try to know who we are. And with that setup, human being, mankind had higher value, higher understanding, what to be done, what not to be done. So Vedic education system had this 5 pillar. The definition has to be right. The people who are engaged in teaching and preaching, they have to be qualified. Where the system, where the education should be delivered, and the curriculum, how it should be designed, so that finally people can lead to the final destination. So if we have a format of structure, some sort of institutional system, especially for North America. I have some other information that I'm not sharing. I have to rush through it just to give you a little bit snap of it. So what are the benefits? First, if you have a system, you are very organized, you have support. And then if you work under system, then it has a longevity. You have some foundation that's going to be nurtured and cared later. And then people find it very authentic. Oh, there is something as institutional setup. People like to, try. For sure, we have to be innovative and very, very relevant. We understand the value of our knowledge that we are providing, but we cannot lose the sight of being innovative and being very relevant to the society at that time. Last but not least, the last topic, I can talk a lot, but just want to let you know that if you want to get deeper into the society, to be the mainstream, society or mainstream institute or mainstream uh, uh, society for people to follow, or a society where people would come to get knowledge, we have to change some of the ways we are reaching out to people. So there are multifold benefit of having the institutional setup. And with that, we are trying to set up this institute. And I'm sure many of you are also trying to work along the same line. And if you have any questions or anything that you'd like to know in depth and more about how we can work together, how we can have collective effort, please talk to me. I would like to see how we can work together and take to next step. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Sorry, Prabhu, if I went a little late.
No, it is perfectly fine.
No,
Can you
no.
unshare your screen? We want to
Yes.
see you.
Yes.
Good, thank you. And then maybe you can take one question. So
Yeah,
from the
I'll be
audience,
happy to
yeah,
take
yes,
if there is
please.
any. Sorry, it was too quick run through 15 minutes. I don't know what can I do.
So is there any question? Please raise, or you can put in the chat. Okay, I don't see anyone putting there. So however, as Ramacharya Prabhu already mentioned about his institutes and name, in case if you wanted to get in touch with him, you can definitely email or contact him. He's very responsive. So thank you, Ramacharya Prabhu. We wish you all the
Dhanwad.
best for your
Thank you.
the next expansion of the institute, which is definitely going to give more souls to learn Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and many scriptures, Vaishnava scriptures, to be a better devotee. Thank you very much. Let's keep
May
the
blessings of
momentum.
all the devotees. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. So our next presentations will continue with Mother Gopi Gita. So I think all of you know her. I don't need to introduce. So she has been in ISKCON Ministry of Education as a director for our American region, and she's instrumental in teaching the kids. She's a vice principal for TKJ Academy in Dallas, Texas, and she has written a new book about the parenting, and it is really becoming very, very popular, extremely, and she's also excited. So giving more, I would like to invite and speak about herself and the youth and the kids, how she teaches and all. So Mother Gopi Gita, please, do you want to share anything? I'll make the co-host, or you said you will talk through, right? Let me make you co-host in case like.
I'm okay. I will just speak to everybody. Hare Krishna Bali Mardan Prabhu.
Let me
Vancha
make.
Kalpa Tiruphyascha Kripa Sindhu Devasa Patitanam Pavamebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. My humble obeisances to all assembled devotees. It's so wonderful that each and every one of you are here. You commit your time. We're only able to see you through a screen here today, but you commit your time to Krishna conscious education in the world by the dust from your lotus feet. Our Kali Yuga is being slowed down, and Gauranga Mahaprabhu's golden era has come about. So we're so grateful. I'm only going to be talking for about 10 minutes. So if anybody's available to turn on their cameras, that would be awesome. I could see your beautiful faces and get some blessings by looking at your faces. So if you can turn your cameras on, my humble request. I was born in ISKCON in the late 70s and was very fortunate to go to Gurukulas throughout my childhood, also public school and private school. And now I'm serving alongside Balirandan Prabhu in the Ministry of Education for North America. I also have an online school for youth and teenagers, which is serving quite a few students. And as Prabhuji mentioned, I'm fortunate to be at the Dallas school, TKG Academy, the very first school established by Srila Prabhupada. So somehow or another, Krishna has put me in the space of kids. And my first question to all of you is, how many of you have children? And if you do have children, to just drop it quickly in the chat. I would love to hear how many children you have. I would love to hear the names of your children and the ages of your children. Are we okay to share that information right now?
Yes.
All right, so we've got some here. Let's see, 2. Yes, I know your daughter very well. Neha, right? 23 and 19 is your, which one is 19, Ramacharya Prabhu?
Ratan.
Ratan is 19. My Nita is 19. Balaram is 19 as well. Excellent. It's a great age. Abhay is 15. Very nice. Mother Ruchiranana has a 21-year-old. Excellent. No kids. Param Padam Prabhu saying Siddharth is 31 and Shantanu is 29. Hare Krishna. Anyone else here can share what their kids? Ooh, we've got Amalanama Prabhu with some little ones. Full house there. 2 girls and 1 boy, 6. Oh, are they twins? Abhay and Radhika and Aditi. Wow, we've got Advaita Ashish Prabhu with a little girl, little one at 4 years old, Shamali. Parthasarathi Prabhu has Braja Chandrika, who is 24, and Ramani Radha, who is 14. Quite an age difference there. I'm sure the 24-year-old acts like a parent to the younger one. Miranda has a boy, 6 years old. I think we might have heard him in the background. Are you talking to him, Miranda? And we've got Kalarupa Prabhu from Washington, who's got a 10-year-old Ananta, a 7-year-old Dalita, and Paramatma Prabhu's 3 girls. Wow. And 22, 29, and 30. Hari Bol. All glories to your parenting services. So the first thing we start off with in Bhakti is Shraddha. Ado Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, Tata Bhajana Kriya. Maharaj had put that verse on. And Srila Prabhupada, he describes Shraddha as preliminary desire. So we do see Shraddha as faith as well, and belief and conviction, but he defines it as preliminary desire. So now my question to all of you, I'm going to be asking you to type in quite a bit here. I hope that's okay. My sister does Kirtan internationally, and she says in Hindi to do the seva, the service of clapping hands. My request to everybody is to do the seva of typing. And so I'm going to ask you to place into the chat. Take a minute to think about this. What is your deepest desire for those beautiful young men and women, young children that you have placed in the chat? What is your deepest desire for your children? Okay, what does that mean, Ramacharya Prabhu? Let's go deeper. What does be a nice devotee mean? Let's go deeper. Deepest desire. Haribo, let them become Krishna conscious and happy and joyful, wonderful to be in Krishna consciousness. Let them understand the glories of the Lord. So if your children were just Krishna conscious and they went traveling with Indradun Maharaj for the next 25 years, would that be good enough? Are there more desires? What are your deeper desires? Are there more than just be Krishna conscious? To love Krishna, to let them understand the glories of the Lord. I'm sure we have more than just Krishna consciousness. Of course, Krishna consciousness should never have a just next to it. But what else is there? Dig deeper. Paint a picture for me. What is your deepest desire? Hari Bol, to be a good preacher of Bhagavatam. Balimardan Prabhu, that was my dad's desire for me. I remember he used to tell me, he used to show me the Bhagavad Sapta people, like Oja. There was this guy named Ramesh Oja, and he used to say when I was a little girl, one day you'll be like him. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Beautiful. To be a good example to society, Ramachandra Acharya Prabhu, excellent. Ruchi Ranana should remember Krishna. Very good. So it seems everybody here has Krishna wishes. We're among Vaishnavas. So I've been working with so many parents in the school, outside the school, in the contemporary spaces, in the non-bhakti spaces. They want their kids to get really good grades. They want their kids to have competition, win in different competitions. They want their kids to get into a good college. They want their kids to get a master's degree. Parampadam Prabhu, thank you that they have successful in preaching Krishna consciousness. They want their kids to have really deep friendships, loving relationships. They want their kids to feel like they matter, that they belong, and deeper, they want their children to feel very deeply connected to Krishna consciousness and engaged in Krishna service. So my next question is, you have this desire. Do you feel that you have achieved this desire? Let's write in a yes or a no. Do you feel that this desire has manifested? Have you achieved this desire yet? Not yet, okay. Anyone else? Partly yes, mostly not yet. Karunabdi Krishna Kumar Prabhu. I think not 100%. Okay, so We've got some authenticity happening here. Is a little bit, you've achieved it, Mother Ruchiranana, but not 100%. Who else can share? Do you feel that you have achieved this desire? Kalarupa Prabhu is saying, no, he has not achieved his desire yet. All right, so we'll continue on. We didn't get as many responses about the whether or not you achieved it. So we'll also see if they continue coming. If you have not achieved this desire yet, the desire that you hold in your heart. Now, usually I do a good hour session just on envisioning the desire. But you can imagine in your mind what it is that you want to have with the children in your home. First, we start with the children in our homes, and then we move to the children in our communities as leaders. Why have we not achieved this desire yet? Why do you think we have not achieved this collective desire yet? Please type in the chat. What's blocking us? We have where we are right now. We have where we want to go. There's a distance there. Why is that distance there? What is the reason why we have not achieved this desire? The environment, okay? Ramacharya Prabhu is saying, the Sangha. Not monitoring the outcome and plan. I love Balimardhan Prabhu, how like you're so organized. Every time I'm around you in your spaces, you like every thought process comes out like a high level manager. I love the way you think. Not monitoring the outcome and the plan. Oh, their desire might be different than our desire. Nice. Not meeting with other parents. Parampadan Prabhu is sharing. Compromising spiritual education for material education. So Karunadi Prabhu, is that you're saying more of a, is there more spiritual and less material, or more material and less spiritual? Anyone else want to share? We've got all these little black screens ahead of us. Any of you who are on the black screens and driving or whatever, if you can't type, go ahead and just unmute and share what your thoughts are. Why have we not achieved our desire with our children or material? Thank you. I'm not there myself, so how can I expect the kids to be? Awesome, some authenticity from Amalanama Prabhu. Okay, they're not old enough. They're really young. Yours are really young. Really young kids can also be 100% Krishna conscious, but yeah, you wouldn't really know it until they're out of the house, so I understand. So, in Krishna consciousness, I try and be enthusiastic and try not to see myself as a cause of the result. Parthasarathi Devi Dasi, thank you, Mother, for sharing. So, in Krishna consciousness, we have this 9 stages of bhakti, right? The ladder, the bhakti ladder, starting with Shraddha, and then moving up, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, and onwards, Nishtha, Asakti, Ruchi, Bhava, Prema. I might have switched a few of those in the order. In this process, there are core needs that are being met. The needs of Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. As a matter of fact, the process itself is held within the spaces of Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. Sambandha is the need of connection and belonging. In that space, you have Sadhu Sangha, working with others, where a child, an adult, an individual, a human feels, I deeply belong, I am deeply connected, I matter. Abhideya holds the space of free will and agency, where an individual, a child, a human being gets that feeling of, I know what I am here for, I have tasks I can do, I have free will, control over my destiny, and I can enact that through agency. And the last one is Prayojana, which is accomplishments and achievements. I have hit my goal, I am comfortable with my goal, I am satisfied. Ada Purnam Idam. Ada, what is it? Om Purnam Ada Purnam Idam. I have completed my responsibility. I know how to complete my responsibility. When an individual, and specifically children, move through these different stages through very practical strategies of communication and service, that's when they can enter into samadhi and dharma, where they understand how to connect Krishna to every single one of their desires, their actions, their relationships, their actions, and their accomplishments. And so we have been teaching this process systematically. I was a mother when I first moved here to Dallas. I had 2 little kids, age 2 and age 5. I moved from Laguna Beach, where my husband had a job in Southern California, and we served at the temple there, Panchatattva Mandir, at the temple in ISKCON Laguna Beach. And when I moved here, I met another mom whose kids were the same age as mine, younger, a little younger, the same age as my younger son. No matter, we both of us journeyed together with our children in the school. She would come to help out at the school every now and then. I was the teacher, one of the teachers at the school. She's an American devotee, and her husband was from Colombia. And she had twins. Their names were Arjuna and Gandiva. And every few months, she would develop the desire to bring her children to Mangalarti. Gopi, it's just, her oldest 2 kids were already in SMU. She had a 20-year-old, a 22-year-old, and then she had a 4-year-old and the twins that were 4 and then 5 and then 6. And her oldest kids were already in university, and her youngest were still in kindergarten and 1st grade. And every few months, she would start a program, let's all go to Mangalarti. Anytime there was a break, let's all go to Mangalarti. And she would share with me that when I first joined, she's a disciple of Tamal Krishna Maharaj, we would go to Mangalarti, and I would commiserate with her too. Yes, the first 19 years of my life, I attended Mangalarti at least 5 days a week. And we would say, okay, let's do it. We get our kids together, get some other community kids together and go to Mangalarti. This desire in her heart, it kept coming and going and manifesting. And then her kids grew up, and then Mangalarti turned to Guru Puja, and she would still try and get them when they were 12 and they were 15. Come on, let's do it. Let's go to Guru Puja. Every summer, like a week or 2, they would be at Guru Puja. I fizzled out by then. I was busy at the school. And today, from that intense desire, now nobody, having seen the way her family life went, her husband passed away, her older children moved on, nobody would have thought that this desire would fructify 20 years later. Today, her daughter, Gandiva, is initiated as Draupadi by Kalakanta Prabhu, and she is the ashram leader in Houston. Mother Jirana may know her. And her son, Arjuna, he is initiated by Kalakanta Prabhu. His name is Dristadumna, and he was the ashram leader for the Krishna House in Toronto, and now the ashram leader here in Dallas. He's a young 19-year-old boy. He has finished some education, working on his college courses, but his primary task and goal in life is to not only be Krishna conscious himself, but to bring in others and to increase the Krishna conscious spaces. The desire of the mother, the strong desire of the mother, which she kept fanning and flaming. Of course, desire is the beginning, there's other things, but that desire manifested. The same story I can tell you about another young boy. His name is Rupa Madhurya Prabhu. He was in Vrindavan Gurukula in 1974 onwards. He actually went to Vrindavan Gurukula in 1978, I believe, and stayed in all the different Gurukulas. His mother in the early 80s had to pull him out of Gurukul because she saw that there was really rich Hare Krishna curriculum, but there wasn't so much material curriculum. And she was an American from a very well-to-do family from Mercer Island. Mercer Island is the place where Bill Gates resides. Very, very well-to-do, up near Seattle, up near Northern California, above Northern California. And so she wanted her son to have a proper material education, and she pulled him out of the Gurukul system. This was in the early 80s. It was a big deal. She felt that she was ostracized by the community, because in those days when we were growing up, all of us went to Gurukul, and that's just what you did when you were a devotee. And so when he grew up, his desire was that his children have a strong academic and strong spiritual, strong material side and strong spiritual side. And this he kept focused on again and again, always trying to discuss how can we balance both of these? How can our kids have really, really strong material grades and accomplishments and strong spiritual grades as strong spiritual standards and values and service heart? And today, if you look at his children today, one of them just traveled to Toronto and the north east of the country of the continent to serve in the Festival of India, which is hard labor, constant, like not 5 hours, like I want to say 14 hours of setting up tents and serving Lord Jagannath, sleeping on a truck and doing kirtan and playing flute, and completely immersed himself in the spiritual space. And at the same time, he's attending university and getting amazing grades and getting accolades and leading teams. And his other son is also balancing both the spiritual and material excellently. So these desires that you have placed in here, I don't say this out of pride. I'm sure I've got a ton of pride, but I don't say this out of pride right now. I say this out of proof that the children and the teachers and the parents that our teams are working with are hitting their desires very, very quickly. With all of the conflicts and all of the issues that are coming in, they're starting with their desire, envisioning, and they're moving through the process 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. And I want to say it's 100% success. So far, all of the clients that I have worked with, teachers and parents, they say, I want to manifest this, and they manifest it, and it comes by the Lord's grace. They align themselves with the bhakti process, with mantra meditation, with understanding the Lord's desire, and they follow the practical strategies, and they get there very, very quickly. And so today I ask you to be very, very focused on this desire that you have. Breathe it into your children's lives. What you desire has already manifested. Srila Prabhupada printed a business card with just the center of New York on the top of the business card. It was only one center at that time in 1966 when he printed this business card. But underneath, in capital letters, he has the address of Matchless Gifts, 26 2nd Avenue, New York, 01 whatever. And then at the bottom in capital letters, it says, centers around the world. There's no centers around the world. There's one lone little thing in New York. But he had this desire and this belief.
Sorry to bother you, Mataji, but yeah, we are a little bit over time, but just thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And so I'm asking you to stay focused on your desire. Your desire is coming from your heart. It means your children are already there. Your children in your communities are already there. And contact me. I'll place my information here on the chat if you would like to get to your desires quicker. All righty.
Thank you very much, Mother Gopi Gita. It's really wonderful to really getting an encouragement how to not be frustrated rather than keep trying. Trying is, Vaisesika Prabhu says, trying is success. So that's important. So we should keep trying on achieving our goal, and incremental growth is important. And your examples of the Gurukul is all awesome.
I think I went way over time. I'm so sorry. I just looked at the time.
No problem. So we have Param Padam Prabhu. I think I made you co-host, Prabhuji. Please like to welcome you. He's also our regional representative from Ministry of Education for Argentina, Chile, and many parts of the Latin America. So I would like to welcome you. He's always instrumental, engaging with all of us, giving his blessings and mercy. Thank you, Prabhu. So please share your screen. So the presentations would be 3 tips to teach Shastra in 21st century.
Okay. Okay, thank you for coming. Thank you, Gopi Gita, for your very inspirational talks. Thank Hanuma Prasad Swami, Balimardana, and their team for organizing this symposium. Today, I would like to share with you and a few minutes, 3 of my most important pedagogical experience I am lately having when I teach Shastra. Okay. I'm going to, yes. Okay, in short, of course, I don't think that my experience had to be the absolute truth for everyone. You know, there's nothing absolute in the pedagogical area. However, I consider important that Vaishnava Shastric teachers take account these 3 tips to improve their educational performances, especially in this is new times. At the end, I'm looking forward to know your opinion about this. I apologize for my English. It is my first lecture in English language, and I am a little nervous, of course. In short, my 3 tips are: first, more kirtan than Shravana. 2, more Gita 10:9 than 4:34. And more shreyas than prayers. I'm going to explain in detail these 3 tips. First, more kirtan than Shravana. What I mean when I say this, why? We hear in the, what we learn in TTC1 course, you know, that these sentences I shocked me. There's no impression without expression. You know, a student needs to practice talking about Shastra, as well as learning a language. For example, I have to talk in English if I want to speak English. The same way, if you want to know Shastra, you have to speak Shastra. How do it? How the teacher have to do to make this? Because a teacher has to ask more questions than giving answer. It's very important, this. Then teacher can evaluate, correct, and improve what? Their Shastric understanding. The way that they apply Shastra in their lives, the way that they share and explain Shastra to other people, preach. For me, I consider that the teacher is more important for the teacher evaluate or give feedback than give only information. I think in this time, it's more important give feedback. Other thing that the teacher can evaluate in their student is their hermeneutic skill. Very important for analyze the Shastra. More. The question you will ask is how they are going to express if they don't have Shravana. Yes, that's a very good question. But today the information is not missing. The student can have Shravana from many sources. 21st century is known for excessive information. No need to reinvent the wheel. No need to produce new contents. The teacher does not need to produce new content. But if you want to produce own lecture, you can offer them to the student recorded ones. For Shravana, you can use recorded lecture, YouTube, audios, books, Vanipedia, database, investigation, etc. It's not necessary that the teacher have to talk about your student and give information and Shastric information. It's not necessary. You can give only some recording. Okay. Teacher only have to address their student to get the right information. It is their responsibility to they get to address the student to get the right information, because there's a lot of information. Okay, second, more Gita 10:9 than 4:34. What I mean by this, you know, the verse 9, they say the thought of my pure devotees dwell in me, their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. I think these sentences promote pluralistic learning because it's one another, one each other. But the next verse, 34, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him, only one person. Promote singular learning. It's okay, but we have in other times, we need plural learning. It's very important for me, focus on strengthening intergroup relationship rather than dependence on the teacher. Because why this? We're in the Sankirtan movement, aren't we? Chanting in congregation is also a study in congregation. We need unity in diversity in the Shastric study. There is one principle of social psychology that is very important. I'm going to present the greater let's see if the greater the heterogeneity of the members and the greater the homogeneity of the task, the greater the productivity. It's difficult for me, this word in English, yes. This is a statement from Pichon Rivière, psychiatrist and psychoanalysis. It's very important to have heterogeneity of the members to get the greater productivity. And other thing about this is, more. How do it? How you promote the heterogeneity in the group? Don't answer every question or doubts. The teacher haven't to answer every question or doubts. Let the student do it. Not only the teacher evaluates, but also the students. It's a very good for a course that the student evaluate, make assessment to other students. Not only the teacher propose the topic to be discussed, the student have to do. And the third and the last, more shreyas than prayas. What I mean with this, more sadhana mode than academic mode. In Shastric course, I prefer more the sadhana mode. What I mean with this, more long-term prospects than short-term. Sadhana is for life. Academic course is only until receiving the degree. Then, why? The key Sanskrit word in the Shastric study is Nityam. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Nityam is which cause purification. We have to attain that the student get Nityan, then it's better promoting in the student a sadhana awareness than only academic awareness. How to do it? Don't worry too much if the students don't memorize something or don't complete their homework. Oh, yes. First, you have to motivate them to get the habits to be constant, to be happy and comfortable with their study. Then time will do the rest, especially in course like a Bhakti Viplavah that is very long. Promote an intra-group friendship that to be very difficult to live. Promote dependence on Shastra to face everyday challenges. Okay, what do you think about these tips? Please leave your comment and question in the chat, YouTube, Zoom, or Facebook. Thank you very much.
Can you unshare your things? Yeah, good. Wow, I can say it is unbelievably brilliant. Such a great tips, because we are teachers and these things will definitely help in persons to us. I am also Bhakti Vaibhav, and I am going to implement most of the things which you explain, the tips and tricks. Amazing, Prabhuji. Amazing, really. I would ask if you have one or two questions, please ask Parampadam Prabhu.
I was okay with the time?
Yeah, you are perfectly okay with time. You are perfectly okay with delivering the contents. So it is very, very, very amazing. So thank you very much, Parampadam Prabhu. I think please send me the PowerPoint. I will ask, maybe we can upload in our website or so that everybody can take benefit. And last but not the least, I know, is it Satya Meda Gorang Prabhu? I don't know. He is based in UK. So probably it's too early for him. And let me share my screen. Can you see my screen back?
Not yet. Yes, no.
Not yet. Now?
Oh, now, yes.
Okay, I'm making it a bigger screen. Still you can see the screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. Go through few of the things which is here. Okay, sorry, my Zoom quitted. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Okay. Somehow I got a message that my Zoom quitted, but nevertheless, I will go through few things about ISKCON ministry updates. If you know that we have, you can still see the screen, right? Yeah. So the digital, let me stop share and make one more time. Something gone wrong with my computer. Okay, it is better now. So let me reshare my screen so that it is. Okay, so screen 2. Yeah, let me know when you can see the screen. So we have the digital certificates, online applications for Bhakti Shastri Bhakti Vaibhav program, online applications for enrolling in our portal, online TTC courses, on-demand certification courses. If you, I think many of you have desired, can you do after Bhakti Shastri Bhakti Vaibhav or some of the things, let's say I want to do for science of self-realization or some other courses, that definitely it is possible. And we have moved all our portal migrations to ISKCONeducation.org. So everything is there. And there are many contents. If you are a teacher, you are struggling to get some more contents, many of the contents are available in ISKCONeducation.org, study and teach. There are a lot more there. And also you can enroll for our weekly email from Viplavah and other programs which we offer, like books are the basis and many other things. So just imagine, which I presented earlier also, I repeat this one, this is my vision. 3,143 counties in USA, and each county will represent with a certified teacher. Srila Prabhupada, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Prithivite ache jate nagaradi grama, means in each county will have one teacher. That is the one prediction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that means 330 million people in America, 1% is Brahminical qualities, that means 3.3 million devotees, or 3,300 teachers ratio. So right now we may not have 200, 300, what's our registered teacher for ISKCON, but just imagine 3,300 teachers once you come. In each county, they become one teacher. They can emanate like a sun or a candle within that one. So, and also Chatuspati, Padmamukh Nimai Prabhu, he is very instrumental. There are many, many days and many things he give TTC 1 and 2, those who are aspiring to be a teacher, those who are not, and in future. Also, they offer local languages, and some of the things Parampadam Prabhu can help also in your Spanish or other languages, but it is offered in English, Hindi, Bengali, and other areas. So you can reach out to him. And then also our online, you can see the unique ID, which is offered right now for the certification. So at the bottom, you can see unique code. For each student, there will be unique code. So we will be able to check and authorize that person has been graduated as a Bhakti Shastri. Someone, Ramacharya Prabhu, you're asking, is it Mayapur Institute, Vrindavan Institutes? They're all part of the Ministry of Education. Everybody will get the certificate with ISKCON standard. There is no such thing as your institute, his institutes. They are part of this as a college, but ultimately it is given the certificate which is authorized, and there will be unique code that is also generated for the certificate program. As I was mentioning, if you wanted to give certificate to your students who are not part of Bhakti Shastri Bhakti Vaibhav, you can also use, let's say, passing of Nectar of Devotion or Ishopanishad, or you wanted to give certificates on science of self-realization. There are like 20 or 30 books, which is already there. You can type into elearning.harekrishna.in, and you can also produce your certificate for the students once you do your own assessment. And there are some samples out there also. You can take leverage. And this is my Bhakti Baba I've been conducting here for last students, and these are all of the things which is maintained in our ISKCON Educational University, which is there in iskoneducation.org for both North America and Latin America. So Srila Prabhupada says one must be educated, and the education may be taken either in schools or privately, but one must be educated. We want many preachers to broadcast this message of Krishna consciousness. Without education, we cannot preach, because a preacher has to meet many kinds of opposite elements. So that is the thing, the message which is given. And unfortunately, Tapan Mishra Prabhu has to go to a GBC meeting. He texted me that he will not be able to join in last minute, but he messaged that please, he has his blessings, he has his encouragement words to all the educators who have been coming and joining here with us. And he has mentioned that please continue to develop more educational program in North America and Latin America. So in the next 1 or 2 minutes, I have launched a Pan America survey. This is 3 questions. It will take just 1 minute. I will request everybody to please give your participation by answering those questions. That would help us to organize and orchestrate more programs and events for, especially to our educators community. So did you get anybody received? The poll, did you get it? Can you unmute some person?
Yes, Prabhu, we got
Okay.
it.
Yeah. So please answer those. 1 minute I give, and then after that we can So we have 66% is completed so far. So I'll wait for another 1 minute and then I will end the poll. So please shower your blessings, give your feedback. That's more important for us to evaluate and assess. Okay, another 30 seconds. I'm going to end the poll. So please. Okay, 15 seconds. So please, last one. If you. Okay, so the poll will be end now. All right, so that's all I had to share at this event today, the virtual conference. I wish that next year, 2024, we will be having our in-person. I hope Ramacharya Prabhu allow us, then we can go to St. Louis to have the in-person meeting next year, right, Ramacharya Prabhu?
Yes, we will work on it.
We'll work on it as you
We're
like.
on our way, Ramacharya Prabhu. Better get
Yes, thank you.
So thank you everyone for your time and a wonderful association, even though it's virtual. I really love it. And please will give Mancha Kalpataru Vyasasya Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam
Pavanebhyo,
Vaishnavebhyo Namo
Vaishnavebhyo.
Namo.
Thank you, His
Prabhupada
Grace
ki.
Bali
Hare
Mardan
Krishna.
Prabhu
Ki
ki
jai.
jai. Thank you so
Prabhupada
much,
ki.
Bali Mardan Prabhu, for such an amazing
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mother. And thank you
Hare
everyone.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
See you soon. Hare Bol.
Dandavat.
Hare
Dandavat.
Krishna.
So
Thank you very
Prabhupada.